Keon King had access to a lot of money. And so he paid $20,000 bail almost immediately and was out of custody as a consequence of that.
This is the stuff that I watch on TV and crime shows, scripts. To see this happen to someone so close to me.
But when I originally called on Sunday morning at the job, they told me that she had worked her full shift from 10 to 6 a.m. So she should have been home by 6:15. It's right around the corner.
It all started with a discovery that no one in Philadelphia will ever forget. Behind an abandoned school, police uncovered a shallow grave, and inside, they found the remains of 23-year-old Kada Scott. For her family, it was the moment their hope turned to heartbreak. But this story didn't begin there. It started months earlier, with small warnings that were too easy to overlook. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. These videos take a lot of research, and your support helps us keep bringing you true stories that matter. Kada was the kind of person everyone wanted to be around. She had a warmth about her that made people feel welcome, and a drive that made them believe in their own dreams. A Penn State graduate, healthcare worker, business owner and designer, she seemed unstoppable. Her days were long, but she didn't complain. Every shift, every late-night brainstorming session was part of a bigger plan she was building for herself. On social media, she shared her journey openly. Her followers saw the creativity, the long hours, and the quiet pride she took in building something of her own. But what no one could see behind the filters and smiles was the uneasy feeling she had been carrying. Kada had recently told friends that someone had been bothering her, sending unwanted messages and crossing lines that made her uncomfortable. She didn't give many details, but everyone close to her could tell something was off. Around that same time, a man named Keon King was becoming a familiar face in Philadelphia. To some, he seemed friendly, someone who blended easily into the neighborhood, but to others, and to police, his name was already associated with trouble. Just months earlier, Keon had been arrested and charged in connection with a kidnapping. That case never went to trial because the victim didn't show up to court. The charges were dropped, and Keon was free to walk the streets again. No one could have known it then, but that decision would prove to be a deadly one. Because by the fall of 2025, Keon was watching Kada. He followed her online, liked her posts, learned her routines. He had been paying attention long before anyone realized.
Carrie, call the cops. Call the... It's all these kids in here. Call the cops. He's them. He coming around the window. Go that way, Cameron. Yeah, go away. Bye. Go away, bye. Yep, bye. Bye. Keon out here.
On October 4th, 2025, Kada got ready for work, just like she always did. She was only 2 weeks into her new job at an assisted living facility in Chestnut Hill. Before leaving home, she texted her mom, saying she'd see her in the morning. She parked outside, walked in for her overnight shift, and started her usual tasks. Everything seemed completely normal. And then she was gone. No one heard anything unusual. There was no argument, no sound of struggle. It was as if she'd vanished into thin air. When her shift ended the next morning and she didn't come home, her family immediately knew something was wrong. They went to the facility and found her car still in the parking lot. But her phone, purse, and keys were missing. To make matters worse, there were no cameras, no security footage, no evidence of who might have been waiting outside. Just silence.
Yeah, something is off. It's not right. I need as much help as I can, but something is definitely wrong. She wouldn't just leave and not contact anyone, none of her friends, family, respond back as far as text messages. She's not on her Instagram, no, nothing.
Where would she go without her car? She's at work. She
Right.
doesn't leave, she leaves work, but her car's still at work. And
Yes.
her phone's off.
Yes, so nowhere. She's supposed to left at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. But when I originally called on Sunday morning at the job, they told me that she had worked her full shift from 10 to 6 a.m. So she should have been home by 6:15. It's right around the corner.
And they all saw her leave work, but they didn't see where she went or who she went with.
That's correct, originally. So when I called on Monday morning, they told me she did not work her full shift. The car was still sitting in the parking lot. So it's like she vanished. Like what? No cameras, no nothing. So where is she?
The community came together almost instantly. Friends, family, neighbors, and strangers began searching every street and park they could think of. Flyers went up across the city. Volunteers shared posts on social media, hoping someone had seen her. Police launched a large-scale search, using helicopters and search teams to cover wooded areas and abandoned buildings. For days, there was no trace of her. And then a shocking update came in. Police had taken someone into custody. His name was Keon King. News spread quickly. People remembered his name from that earlier kidnapping case. They began asking the same question. If that case had been handled differently, would Kada still be here today? The frustration was immediate and widespread. Philadelphia had seen tragedies before, but this one felt different. It felt preventable. As news of Keon's arrest spread, so did speculation online. TikTok, Facebook, and local discussion groups filled with theories about what might have happened. Some people wanted answers. Others wanted someone to blame. That's when a woman named Gabby entered the conversation. She claimed to know Keon and said he had called her just days before Kada disappeared, asking if she knew where Kada lived. At the time, she thought he was just curious. But once the story broke, everything changed. When she admitted that she hadn't contacted police after that call, social media turned on her. People accused her of being involved, of knowing more than she was saying. She insisted she was innocent, that she had simply made a bad decision, not realizing how serious the situation really was. But by then, the damage was done. The internet had decided who it wanted to blame.
Now, me and my best friend, we were also mutual friends with Keon. He was our pharmacist. So one day Keon calls me, and keep in mind, I am in school, I am in Maryland, and he will usually just call me, just to check up and talk. So he calls me and he asks me if I know Kada. And I'm like, yeah, I know Kada. And he's like, oh yeah, I noticed that she lives really close to you. I'm like, yeah, she lived right in the back of me. And I'm not thinking nothing of it because he usually calls me and, we just be chatting. He'll call me about the people that be around because he is the pharmacist. So a couple days after that, me and my best friend get on the phone and we're basically just, talking about the Kada situation. And she says that she thinks that I should call the cops. So she was basically saying that she thinks that I should call the cops and tell them that Keon was, asking about Kada. Now, at the time in my head, I'm thinking that there was no reason to call the cops. He already turned himself in, and I felt like it would be kind of a waste of time to tell them that the guy that they already have in custody, called me and was asking about the girl. And me personally, I'm not a cop caller. I don't call the cops. That's just the way that I grew up. That's what I was around. They will always tell me, you don't call the cops. So I just felt like,
Adding to the chaos, Kada's aunt, Bree, began speaking publicly about visions she said she'd had of her niece. She described places and details that, surprisingly, aligned with parts of the real investigation. Some saw her as intuitive, others thought it was coincidence. Either way, her words fueled the mystery even more.
Gabby is best friends with Keon. Keon is the perp. Gabby is best friends with him. So everybody's like, Breezy, you was right. It was a light-skinned girl vibe because what happened was when I see my vision, it's two girls. They have on blue t-shirts. And one is light-skinned, high yellow with two braids in her head. And she looks at me and it's a little girl. She's not as light as her, but she was in the she's like my complexion. So she turns her head. So I'm like, they was demonic though. So I'm like, why is they looking at me like this? But it's the vision right here. So I've been saying this a long time as well. And then next thing you know, Gabby comes up. Now, Gabby is the girl that they went down Southwest Philadelphia to the house because of Kada phone pinged in the park. Once it pinged in the park, it pinged to Southwest Philadelphia. So the house that they pinged it to was where Gabriella was at. So Gabriella said she didn't know Kada. Then she lied and said she did know Kada because she was getting pressured. She was pinged back. Thank you, Spirit. I love you, Spirit. I swear I love my tribe and my ancestors for what they do.
After 11 long days of searching, an anonymous call came into the police tip line. The voice on the other end told investigators to go back to a place they'd already searched the area behind the abandoned Ada Lewis Middle School. The caller said they'd missed something and gave exact coordinates. When police returned to the site, they noticed fresh dirt behind the school. As they investigated, They found what they had been looking for all along. The remains were later confirmed through DNA testing to be Kada's. The news devastated her family and the entire city.
Yeah, sad.
I don't give a f***. I came out my fucking house by myself to come look for this girl. By myself. To come look for this girl. I don't fuck know her. Y'all found her. Y'all fuck know her. Y'all bullshit.
The community is all here.
I don't know this fucking girl. Oh, this shit not right.
See, I'm about to leave. I'm about to leave.
But something didn't add up. Investigators noted that her body appeared to have been there for only a few days, even though she had been missing for almost 2 weeks. That suggested she had been moved, raising even more questions about who had that information and how the anonymous caller knew exactly where to look. Detectives started piecing together the puzzle. Cell phone data placed Keon near the Ada Lewis Middle School on the night Kada disappeared. Surveillance cameras caught sight of 2 vehicles linked to him, a stolen black Hyundai Accent and a gold Toyota Camry connected to his mother. Both cars were seen near key locations tied to the case. Days later, the stolen Hyundai was found burned in an alleyway. Keon's phone data showed he had been in that same area when the car was destroyed. It looked like an attempt to cover his tracks. Investigators also found evidence suggesting that others may have helped him. But so far, no one else has been charged. Piece by piece, the timeline formed and it painted a chilling picture of planning, control, and deliberate cover-up. When police confirmed the DNA results, people across Philadelphia gathered for a vigil outside the school where Kada had been found. Hundreds showed up with candles and flowers. Many who had never met her said they felt connected to her story because they saw their sisters, daughters, and friends in her. Her aunt stood before the crowd, thanking everyone for their prayers and asking them to remember Kada for how she lived, not how she was lost. Community leaders used the moment to speak out about accountability. They questioned why the justice system had released a man with such a clear pattern of violence. If someone had listened earlier, one speaker said, "We might not be here tonight." Today, Keon faces multiple charges, including kidnapping, assault, arson, conspiracy, and tampering with evidence. Prosecutors say the evidence is strong, and the case continues to unfold. Still, so many questions remain unanswered. Who made that anonymous call? Why was her body moved? And could anyone else have been involved? Kada's story has become more than just another crime case. It's a reminder of what happens when red flags are ignored, when fear is brushed aside, and when justice comes too late. She was young, talented, and full of hope, and she deserved the chance to live the life she was building. If there's one thing to take from her story, it's this. When someone says they feel unsafe, listen. Believe them. Sometimes the smallest warning can mean everything. And in remembering Kada Scott, maybe we can help make sure no one else's story ends the same way. If this story moved you, please take a moment to give this video a like and share it with someone who should hear it. Every time we share these stories, we help keep the memory of victims like Kada alive. And we remind people how important it is to pay attention to the signs that something isn't right. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next video.
My answer is essentially going to be the same thing, right? I mean, obviously we did charge conspiracy, so at this point we do have reason to believe that other people may have been involved after the fact, but in terms of who those people are and the level of their involvement, I'm not going to comment at this time, as it's very much still being investigated.